Hello, this is Josh from Vitality Maximized, and I strongly believe that genetic predispositions are not worth your attention. Before we begin, please don't forget to like, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and any constructive comments will be helpful on our YouTube and Odyssey channels. Let us now begin with this very strong conviction. Alright, so it is my strong conviction that almost all health challenges are either as a result of what we do to our bodies, being what we eat, what we drink, our lifestyles, how much sleep we're getting, our relationships, our thoughts, habits, our careers, what we do to our bodies overall, and also what we started off in life from the sum total of our parents. You may think that this is a matter of genetics, but let me explain. When the present health of your mother and the present health of your father before they decide that they want to have a child is that point where you start off. So if your mother and father do not, place a a priority with their own health, that is what you start off with. So, and I just needed to mention that because of this, right? And additionally, the mother's health is probably more critical than the father's because, the baby or the fetus is temporarily in the mother's womb for 9 months. So, the health of the mother is very important. She has to practice proper prenatal procedures, proper postnatal procedures, and making sure that she doesn't do things that unsettles and unbalances her energy while she is pregnant. So that's what I need to say. It's so another word for this is congenital. So what is passed to from the utero. All right. So that clarifies this. Just moving topic a little bit. I'm sure or within the scientific community, they look for genes and how many total proteins are there, and yada yada yada. And did you know that less than 3% of the human genome, right, are encoded for proteins? And let me repeat, less than 3% of the human genome are coded for proteins. What happens to the other 97+% of the human genome? For a long time now, these are sometimes referred as junk DNA. I think it's extremely disrespectful to all the other non-coding DNA, but they call it junk DNA. Within the last decade, though, there has been some new research regarding the function of some of these junk DNA. Let's give an example of MicroRNA. That's an example of the so-called junk DNA. In the past decade, researchers have found that microRNA play a role in embryonic development. And they tend to bind onto messenger RNA, being mRNA, preventing encoding proteins from being constructed. And lastly, microRNA determines which proteins are produced. So, what microRNA does is to literally act like a checkpoint. They're like little, what's it called? Checkpoints. They determine what goes in, they determine what gets produced. It prevents some that they prevent some DNA that could be encoded for proteins. So it's like a regulator, if you want to put it that way. That's the role of the microRNA. It's like a regulator, one of many regulators from gene to protein. Another one is what you may call the long non-coding RNA. These long non-coding RNA, they modulate chromatin formation. They regulate the assembly and function of the membraneless nuclear bodies, and they alter stability and translation of mRNAs in the cytoplasm and interfere with signaling pathways. So this is just shorthand for they act like regulators and sometimes act like a barrier if it needs to, regarding the formation of proteins. So what basically all these non-coding junk DNA do is to regulate and modulate gene expression. It's basically what they do, and it took them until maybe a decade ago to find that out. And this is important for our longevity, our youthfulness, and to age gracefully as well. So it's all pretty important stuff. So just moving on now, with the things that there's not going to be, we can't talk about genetics and not talk about what is being used to determine genetic predisposition. So we have to talk about genetic testing here. I do think that there's a massive myth going on regarding genetic testing in and of themselves, and that myth, I think, is that DNA testing is meant to check your DNA. I think it's a myth and it's wrong. The truth of the matter is DNA testing includes RNA and protein biosynthesis. So what I mean by this is that DNA testing only tests what is active what is biologically active. It can't test what is dormant. It's the same as blood tests. Blood tests will only show what is active at that point in time. Same with hair tests. You're not going to know all of your heavy metal toxicities just from one individual hair test. So this is also the same with DNA testing. It shows what is biologically active so what is biologically active also includes the RNA formation and the biosynthesis of proteins. Let us give an example of MTHFR. This is a common genetic predisposition that people pay a lot of their time and attention to. This has to do specifically with folate metabolism and how this affects methylation and the reduction of homocysteine. So one of the main things is that as a result of MTHFR genetic testing, it can dictate whether one can tolerate for that at that point in time, whether it's methylfolate or folinic acid or folic acid. I have a friend of mine who I think is she too homozygous MTHFR, can't tolerate methylated supplements. So that's just the nature of the MTHFR game. And it is also, as a rule or as a fact, 2 MTHFR genes are produced by human beings, whether it is the heterozygous or the homozygous, right? And as I also mentioned before, DNA testing also, it tests the biosynthesized active protein and RNA and the DNA that comes with it. And the issues that people experience with MTHFR, with the genetic polymorphisms, right? I happen to find that those who can tolerate, folic acid or methylfolate or folinic acid, it all requires a very healthy liver. So let me explain what I mean by this. A 2015 study, right, by the Royal Colleges of Physicians found that those with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease had increased homocysteine and increased prevalence of the homozygote MTHFR 677C, CT, and MTHFR 1298AC. Another study by the PLOS found that the MTHFR 677T polymorphism and the genotype of MTHFR A1298C were more susceptible to NALFD. So the long and short of the story is that any genetic polymorphisms, right, can be actually that makes you not tolerate, methylfolate or folic acid or folinic acid, right? One would have to look at the health of the liver. I know that most people don't have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but this is not a matter of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This just has to do with your liver function in general. So NAFLD is basically just an extreme case of of liver dysfunction. And the role of zinc. Zinc is important for folate metabolism. A 2022 study just last year by the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine Biology found that zinc supplementation improved folate levels and decreased homocysteine. Again, this is not a go ahead for you to just buy your zinc supplementation, but it is just saying that sometimes the body probably needs some extra zinc so that it could improve the metabolism of other vitamins, particularly folate and vitamin B12, which is involved in the methylation dynamics. So what next? The first one is that I think that you need to take extreme care of your body, mind, and spirit right now, so you can change your genetic destiny. You are what you eat, what you inhale, what you absorb. Your thoughts habits, beliefs, even the people that you associate yourself with, all affect your genetics. Secondly, forgive your parents. At the time, they didn't know better, or they weren't conscious enough in these areas to put you in the best footing as when you were born. And again, whether you are 12 years old, or you're 22, or you're 50, you can't control what you did in your past, what your parents did before they gave birth to you, what you're weaned on, and upbringing, and anything that you were conditioned to believe. Just start giving yourself a fighting chance today. And if you want to give yourself a fighting chance today, right, and see light at the end of the tunnel, and go and say to all the naysayers that your health condition is not genetic and final, you can email me, josh@vitalitymaximize.com, and I think we'll be able to help you. We'll definitely be able to help you, and we'll help you, maximize your health and vitality in a way that it is, of course, natural, and everything that goes with that. Sorry about that. But yeah, if you really want to give yourself a fighting chance today and see light at the end of the tunnel, our programs, whether it's a health coaching programs or our mineral balancing programs, can help you achieve that. So, jump right in. We are on a discounted, we are charging low prices at this time, low discounted prices at this time, and they're available up until November 1st, 2023. So take advantage of this, lock this price in, because these won't be there forever. All right. As we conclude, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and comment constructively. And thank you for listening to this hot take regarding genetics. And I want to say thank you. Goodbye, God bless, and see you again soon.